Hey there, amazing viewers. Welcome to the first episode of Dev with Shift. In today's episode, we're going to learn about GitHub, the ultimate version control software and collaborative software development. Whether you are a seasoned developer or a coding newbie, by the end of this video, we'll have a solid understanding of how to use GitHub effectively. So let's get started. Before we jump into GitHub, let's quickly cover the basics of version control. Version controls helps us to track the changes of our code over time, allows us to collaborate seamlessly, and also makes possible to revert to previous states if needed. So let's start by giving an example. In this image, we can see that there are multiple timelines, but the main timelines we want to focus are the master and the hotfix. We can see the developer released the master 0.1 and a bug was reported. So he branched out from that timeline in the hotfix timeline, and then he patches the bug, and then he again pushes his commit back to the master timeline. So this is one example where version controlling is really important because we can branch out from different timelines at different point of the time and still can keep track of our code. So similar to the hotfix branch, we can also have multiple branches for development, for features, or again for hotfixes, so that individual developers can work on each of their stories without disrupting the other's flow. Now let's head over to github.com and sign up for a free account. If you don't have one already, just create one. It's a straightforward process. Just follow the steps. We're gonna just click on the sign up here. Now the website's gonna greet us. You can proceed by entering the email and just follow the prompts, and let's get back after creating the account. Now let's open a command prompt or a terminal in your machine. We need to enter the following commands: git config global space user dot name, and you need to enter your preferred username. For me, it is dev with shiv. Press enter, and you need to enter the same command and just change user dot name to user dot email and enter your email. For me, it would be devwithshiv@gmail.com. So after setting up your terminal on your machine and downloading Git, now we need to create a repository. So head over to your GitHub profile and follow the steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a repository, and we're going to give this name GitHub tutorial. Let's see. Yeah, GitHub tutorial is available. So right now I'm going to select this repository as public. You can also set this option to private if you are developing some software which you don't want the source code to be leaked or used by others. You can also add a readme file. You can initialize this file so that other people or you have a better understanding by just reading this file of what the GitHub repo is for. We can also choose some predefined examples of git ignore. So git ignore is a file which tells GitHub to ignore some specific file, some bloatware or some preprocessed file which is already present in your system, or which will be generated by the system when you build the program or build your software. So we can choose on different things. So right now we don't need a git ignore file because it's just a text-based example for GitHub. So I'm not going to choose it. You can also choose different type of licenses if you want it to be open source or not. So I'm going to finally click on create repository. So congratulations, you have successfully created your first GitHub repository. So now we have successfully created the repository. Now let's clone this repository on our machine so we can start adding stuff to it. Just follow the steps. On the repositories page, we're just going to click on this code button. We're going to copy the HTTPS command. Now open the terminal. I'm just going to use the terminal of VS Code, which is the choice of editor that I use. Now here, just type git clone followed by the command that we copied. So after running this command, you can see that git command has generated the folder named GitHub tutorial, which matches the name of the repository we created on GitHub. So now we have successfully cloned the GitHub repository on our machines, and now we can start adding stuff to it. So now that we have successfully cloned the repository from the GitHub server to our local machine, let's start adding a file, a text file, to see how Git works. I'm just going to create hello.txt file. And now, since this file, and I'm going to just copy this file to the GitHub tutorial folder. So now this file is not present on the GitHub server that we have cloned from, but it is present on our local machine. Now, if we need to compare the changes from the GitHub server on our local machine, what we need to do is we need to use some specific commands, and I'm just going to tell you what they are. Since this file is newly created, we need to run this command called git status to see the files which are untracked right now. Since this file is newly created, so GitHub doesn't track this file automatically. So what we need to do is we need to use git add hello.txt. So right now, git has added the file hello.txt, and you can confirm this by running git status, and you can see the changes are ready to be committed. So what commits are? So commits you can take as, suppose there is some code xyz on the GitHub repo, and you clone the repo to your local machine. You changed the xyz file's contents, and now you want to save the changes to the repository. So the process of saving the changes to your local changes to the repository is called commit. So right now I'm just going to commit this change, and we're going to see how it changes on the GitHub repository. I'm just going to use git commit followed by -m, which is the enabler for the message of the commit. And now I will just type created hello.txt. Now we have successfully created the change, and we can confirm this by using git status, and you can see that there are no different files. Now we also need to push these changes. We know right now the commit is sitting on our local machine. We need to push the commit to the GitHub repository. So we'll use git push and origin main. So origin is the origin where our GitHub repository is right now, and main is the name of branch. So in the example, we talked about different branches, right? The release branch, the hotfix branch, and the develop branch. So by default, GitHub generates a branch when you create a repository and names it as main. So we're gonna push this code to the main branch. And now we can just refresh this page. And you can see that hello.txt has emerged here. And now we can start adding stuff to a hello.txt file. I'm just gonna write hello world followed by exclamation mark. And now we can also see the changes that we have made in the terminal. I'm just gonna type git diff, and this shows that in hello.txt file, there's a new line added with the contents hello world. Now I need to save this change, or I need to commit this change to the repository. So I'm going to use command git add hello.txt. Since this file was changed, git commit hello world. This is the commit message. And now so I just wrote the exact text, but it doesn't need to be same as what the changes are made. It's just a message to help you understand, or your fellow developers understand, what was the purpose of this commit, or what was the purpose of this save. So right now this committed, and I'm just going to push it to the main branch. Now we can see the main branch is updated. I'll just go and refresh this page, and we can see hello world is published. I can also go to this branch. You can see there is one branch, and from this tab you can see what all branches you have. There is only one branch right now, and there are 3 commits. So one is hello world, one is created hello.txt, and this is initial text. So let's just see what hello world was. We can also check the changes by commits. So I'm just gonna see what the commit was, and it shows only one line was added to the file hello world, and created hello.txt. We can see what the change was. So we can see that this hello.txt file was created. So that's how GitHub commits work, and that's how GitHub push work. Now let's suppose there is a change in the file. There's a change in the file. Someone has like someone came here. Someone tried to edit the file and say, "Hey, this is Shiv," and someone else committed from here, and now the person is saying that, "Hey, I have changed the file. I've updated the file. It should reflect on your machine as well." But we can clearly see that it is not updating on our machine. So what we need to do, we need to pull the changes from the repository. So for this, we're going to use git pull command. So what this command does is it grabs the changes from the repository and updates your local machine file. I'm just going to run git pull. So you can see, yes, there are some changes that have been made to this file, and it shows in hello.txt file, there has been total three changes. One is a negative and two is positive. So I've just deleted one line, I've added one line, and also I have added this text. So this is how we have the changes from other user in our local machine as well. So, as we talked about earlier in the example, that we have different branches. One branch was version and one branch was hotfix. So, let's use the concept of branches on our GitHub tutorial repository. So, we can create a new branch by using command git checkout -b to branch out, and we can just create the branch name test branch. So it tells us that we have switched to a new branch, which is named as test branch. So let's suppose I need to change something on this branch. Suppose there is a bug and I don't need to interfere with the production code, and I want to tackle this bug on a separate branch. So I'm just going to write here patching a bug. So this bug has been patched, and now I've saved this, suppose, and now I need to push this code to the same test branch on the GitHub repository as well. So let's just apply the same steps we did before. Git add hello.txt, git commit and patched the bug, git push origin main. But right now, the branch we are tackling with is not main, it is called test branch. So I'm just going to write the name of the branch that I want to push the commit into. So I'll just run this command. And here we can see the code has been successfully pushed to test branch. And I can verify this by refreshing the GitHub page and now selecting the branch as test branch, and right now opening the hello.txt file, and we can see that patching a bug is present on this hello.txt file in the test branch. But on the same thing, we can switch to the main branch, and right now we can see that this is not available. So this is what branches are. We can have two different versions of code, and we are tracking changes on both of the versions, but they are not conflicting with each other. Let's suppose the tester approved this code. Yeah, okay, the fix was really good. There are no other bugs on this fix, and now we can successfully merge this code into the main branch. So that process is called raising a pull request. We need to raise a PR, and we need to tell the head or the manager or the program manager, anyone, that, yeah, see, I have successfully passed this bug and the tester is approved. Now you can successfully merge my PR. So let's get into the process. The process of PR is not as complicated as it sounds. We just need to head over to the GitHub repository page and click on the pull request button. Now we just need to click on the new pull request, and I will select the base branch as main, and I would like to compare it with the test branch because the code fixes are present on the test branch, and I need to merge the test branch fixes to the main branch. And after we have successfully selected both the branches, we can see that it automatically shows us the changes that main branch doesn't have because the test branch is the latest one. So I'll just select create pull request. I'll just name the pull request as patch the bug. I'll just create a pull request. So right now, even after creating the pull request, we can see that in the hello.txt file in the main branch, the code has not been updated yet, because what we need to do is we need to get the PR approved. So the person assigned or you only, you can just review the code, just go to file changes. We can review what all files were changed. We could just go back and merge PR. We'll just confirm the merge. And right now the pull request has been successfully merged and closed. There's an option to delete the branch as well, but we won't do it right now. So let's head back into the main branch. And now if we check hello.txt, we can see the changes are present here. So that's what raising a PR and merging a PR means. So coming back to this example, we can see that if a person has branched out a code and has committed here, and the other person has branched out the code in the purple node, and the process of committing has been placed in the 1.0. This version doesn't have the changes of the orange branch. So currently there can be a merge conflict because the purple branches doesn't have the code of orange branch, but the blue branch does have the code of orange branch. So it can show that, okay, these are the changes. So we need to delete the files or there is a conflict. So let's see how we can simulate this process in GitHub right now, and we'll solve the commit. So let's say there is a developer which is editing this hello.txt file as well. So I'll just edit and I'll just type here raising a conflict, and I'll just commit the change, update hello.txt, save. And I don't know about this change yet. So in this file, I've written there is an update. And for me, that seems nice. I'll just get back to the main branch because we were sitting in test branch right now. You can check what branch you're sitting right now by using the grid branch command, and it shows that we are on test branch. Let's head back to the main branch, which is git checkout main. I'll just close these changes. I'll just run this command again. The branch is up to date with origin main. It is showing your branch is up to date with origin main because right now we have not pulled the changes from repository. So the local machine won't ever know that there was an update in the repo. So I'll just paste my changes here. There is an update. As you can also see, we are not getting the patched a bug because we haven't pulled the main branch yet. So this will raise two conflicts. Let's see how. I'll just use git add command. And so I have not written the name of the file, which is the practice that everyone should do, but I have just followed it by a period. So what period does is it adds all the changes that are present. So you don't need to mention it one by one. It's not a good practice, but since there was only one file, I just typed a period. So I'll just commit it by saying, okay, there is an update. I've updated it. I'll just push the changes to origin main. And now we see that, okay, there are some conflicts. It is showing all reds and yellows, so you don't don't get overwhelmed. So it is right now showing everything in yellow and red. So don't get overwhelmed with all of this. It's not the end of the world. We can easily fix this. It is just showing that, okay, there are some changes. It is showing us some hints. Hey, use git pull before pushing again. I'm just gonna git pull. But right now, it shows us some conflicts because we have already committed some changes without git pulling. So since we have already committed some changes, we have told, okay, there is save in the repository, but we are pulling some changes which were in the past. So right now it is showing some conflict. Hey, so the current changes you made is this. The incoming changes from the repository is this. So we need to solve this conflict. So there is a conflict that we need to keep the current change, or we need to update it to the previous state that was present on the repository. So right now I'll just select, hey, okay, accept the incoming change, and I'll patch it again, update. I'll just save it. I'll run git add dot again, git commit, solve conflict. And now if I run git push origin main command, it won't show us error and it will successfully work. See, it successfully worked. Now we can just refresh this page and we can see update is present here. So that's how commits are solved. So don't get tensed when you see a commit. It's not the end of the world. You can easily fix it. So congratulations, you have conquered the basics of GitHub. Remember, practice makes us perfect. If you want to dive deep into GitHub, I'm dropping a link in the description for GitHub documentation. You can go and read that. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and push the bell notifications for all the future tutorials. Stay tuned, and don't forget your support will help me keep on going.